Throughout history, empires were built on power, wealth, and influence. Fortunes were won, crowns were seized, and dynasties rose and fell. But what if one of the ultimate symbols of that power wasn't a crown or a castle, but a dog? Some dog breeds were way more than just pets. They were living status symbols, handpicked by monarchs to project authority, inspire loyalty, and even guard sacred legacies. They were political statements and cherished companions who saw the private lives of the world's most powerful people. From the laps of emperors to the battlefields of kings, these are the dog breeds that secretly ruled empires. So, which of these canine royals do you think really ran the show? Our journey begins not on a European throne, but inside the guarded walls of the Chinese imperial palace. Here, a dog wasn't just a pet. It was a creature of divine status, a living legend wrapped in fur. This was the world of the Pekingese. The origins of the Pekingese are steeped in myth. One beautiful legend tells of a lion who fell in love with a tiny marmoset. To be with his small love, the lion begged the Buddha to shrink him down, asking only that he keep his great lion's heart. From their union, the story goes, came the lion dog, the Pekingese. It's a myth that perfectly captures the breed, a tiny dog with a massive, fearless personality. For centuries, the Pekingese was the exclusive property of Chinese royalty. They were bred and raised entirely within the Forbidden City, and for a commoner to own one was a crime so severe it was said to be punishable by death. These weren't simply dogs. They were seen as semi-divine beings that could ward off evil spirits. Life for an imperial Pekingese was one of unimaginable luxury. They lived in marble pavilions, slept on silk cushions, and were fed the finest meat and rice by their own servants. The smallest ones, known as sleeve dogs, could be carried inside the massive sleeves of their master's robes, sometimes acting as a ferocious, last-ditch surprise to fend off an attacker. The Pekingese was a living symbol of the emperor's exclusive power. Their journey to the west is a dramatic tale in itself. In 1860, during the Second Opium War, British and French troops stormed the old summer palace. Inside, they found 5 loyal Pekingese guarding the body of the emperor's aunt, who had taken her own life rather than be captured. These 5 dogs were brought to Britain as spoils of war. One of them, a dog named Ludi, was presented to Queen Victoria, introducing this sacred imperial treasure to the Western world and changing its destiny forever. From the Forbidden City, we travel thousands of years back in time to the sun-drenched deserts of the ancient Middle East. Here, alongside the pharaohs, ran a creature of breathtaking grace and speed. The Saluki. Often called the royal dog of Egypt, the Saluki is one of the oldest known breeds of domesticated dog. Archaeological evidence traces the Saluki's distinct form back an astonishing 5,000 years, with images of these slender hounds etched into ancient Egyptian tombs and Sumerian carvings. They weren't just drawings. They were portraits of a deeply revered companion. In ancient Egypt, the Saluki was way more than a working animal. It was a symbol of nobility and grace. They were the favorite hunting partners of the pharaohs, prized for their incredible speed in running down gazelles across the harsh desert. This was hunting as a royal sport, and the Saluki's presence in ancient art reinforced the owner's high status. But you can really tell how sacred they were by how they were treated in death. Like the pharaohs themselves, Salukis were often mummified and entombed with their masters. The discovery of these mummified dogs in the grand tombs of the Upper Nile reveals a belief that the bond between a ruler and their Saluki was eternal. While many dogs were considered unclean in later Islamic tradition, the Saluki was the exception, known as El Hor, or the Noble One. Bedouin tribesmen treasured them as much as their famed Arabian horses, welcoming them into their tents and treating them like family. The Saluki remains a living link to the dawn of civilization, a dog that has walked beside kings and hunted with pharaohs for millennia. Moving forward into Renaissance Europe, a royal dog's worth was often tied to its utility and its powerful symbolism, and in Tudor England, no breed represented the intersection of nobility, speed, and political power better than the greyhound. For the Tudors, the greyhound was a powerful piece of propaganda. The white greyhound was a key heraldic symbol of the family of Henry VII's mother. By adopting the white greyhound of Richmond as one of his own emblems, the first Tudor king was visually cementing his claim to the throne after the bloody Wars of the Roses. The greyhound wasn't just a dog, it was a statement of dynastic right and power, carved into the stone of his palaces. His son, the infamous Henry VIII, inherited this love for the breed. A passionate sportsman, Henry adored the hunt, which was a display of kingly authority. His personal accounts are filled with payments for his packs of greyhounds. This association with speed, athleticism, and readiness for action made the greyhound the perfect symbol for a vigorous monarchy. Even the ladies of the court loved the breed. Anne Boleyn, Henry VIII's ill-fated second wife, famously owned a greyhound. There's a tragic story that when another of her smaller dogs died in an accident, the courtiers were so terrified to tell the queen that they made the king himself deliver the bad news. During this time, forest laws reserved the right to own such swift hunting dogs exclusively for the nobility. To own a greyhound was to signal that you belonged to the ruling class. From a badge on a coat of arms to a blur of speed across a royal park, the greyhound was the ultimate canine symbol of Tudor nobility. While greyhounds projected a king's speed and nobility, another breed was chosen to project his raw, unchallengeable strength. From the courtyards of English castles, the imposing figure of the Mastiff served as a living fortress, a symbol of dominance and protection. The Mastiff is an ancient breed, once used by the Romans as war dogs. In England, their main job in royal households was sheer intimidation and security. With their massive frames, powerful jaws, and deep rumbling barks, these dogs were the ultimate deterrent, patrolling the grounds of royal estates at night. The Mastiff didn't represent speed. It represented the unmoving power of the castle walls, the authority of the lord in his domain. In heraldry, the Mastiff became a symbol of courage and vigilance. The Tudors, who loved the greyhound for the hunt, relied on Mastiffs for security. But perhaps the most famous story of a royal Mastiff comes from the reign of King James I. Legend has it that one of the king's favorite Mastiffs was attacked and killed by lions in the Tower of London Menagerie. The king was reportedly so enraged by the lions' disloyalty to their own king, the lion being the king of beasts, that he ordered them to be put down. While the story is probably just a legend, it shows how highly these dogs were valued as extensions of the monarch himself. The Mastiff wasn't a cuddly companion. It was a working dog whose job was to be a visible and audible symbol of their master's power, a furry line of defense for the crown itself. Okay, from the huge Mastiff, we're now shifting to a dog whose influence came not from its size, but from its charm and loyalty. Let's head to the Netherlands to meet the dog that became an icon of a royal house and a hero in its own right. The Pug. Like the Pekingese, the Pug's ancient origins trace back to China, where they were prized companions of emperors. In the late 16th century, Dutch traders brought the first pugs to Europe, where they quickly charmed their way into royal courts. It was in Holland that the Pug became the official dog of the House of Orange. This was largely thanks to one heroic act. The story goes that in 1572, the camp of William the Silent, Prince of Orange, was ambushed by Spanish troops in the middle of the night. It was his loyal pug, Pompey, who saved his life by barking frantically, waking the prince and allowing him to escape. From that moment on, the pug was forever linked with the Dutch royal family. When William of Orange and his wife Mary II traveled to England in 1688 to take the throne, they brought their beloved pugs with them, sparking a craze for the breed among the British aristocracy. These dogs became the height of fashion, tiny symbols of the new monarchy. The pug's popularity spread like wildfire. Napoleon's wife, Josephine, owned a pug named Fortune. When she was imprisoned, she used Fortune to smuggle secret messages to Napoleon under the dog's collar. Queen Victoria later became a huge pug enthusiast and breeder, owning as many as 36 in her lifetime. The pug was a symbol of leisure, luxury, and sophistication. They conquered empires not with force, but with affection, proving that sometimes the greatest power comes in a small, wrinkled package. In the turbulent world of 17th century England, where a king would lose his head in a civil war, one dog became the living symbol of the royalist cause. the Cavalier King Charles Spaniel. Toy spaniels had been popular for centuries as comfortay dogs, but under the Stuart dynasty, they were elevated to royal icons. They are most famously associated with King Charles II, the Merry Monarch, who was rarely seen without two or three of these elegant spaniels at his heels. His devotion was so absolute that he is said to have issued a royal decree, which legend says is still in effect, that the King Charles Spaniel must be permitted in any public place, including Parliament. These dogs weren't symbols of military might. They represented a different kind of power, the intimate, personal world of the court. They stood for a life of leisure, refinement, and affection. Their very name, Cavalier, was the term for supporters of the royalist cause, forever linking the breed to the monarchy. But after the Stuarts, the breed's look began to change. Flatter-faced dogs like the pug came into fashion, and the spaniel was bred to have a shorter nose. By the 1920s, the original dog of Charles II's time was nearly extinct. Then, an American enthusiast named Roswell Eldridge, fascinated by old paintings, offered a cash prize at the Crufts Dog Show for a spaniel of the old type. Breeders took up the challenge, and through careful effort, they revived the dog of the Stuart kings, officially recognizing it in 1945 as the Cavalier King Charles Spaniel. Our final dog didn't guard ancient castles or hunt with medieval kings, but it arguably became the most globally recognized canine symbol of monarchy in history. This is, of course, the Pembroke Welsh Corgi, the steadfast companion of Queen Elizabeth II. While other breeds were chosen for their symbolism, the Corgi's rise to royal fame was born purely from a young princess's affection. The family's love affair with the breed began in 1933 when King George VI brought home a Corgi puppy named Dookie for his daughters, Elizabeth and Margaret. Princess Elizabeth was instantly smitten. The defining moment came on her 18th birthday in 1944 when she was given her very own Corgi puppy, Susan. Susan became the matriarch of a royal Corgi dynasty that would span 14 generations and include more than 30 dogs. The bond was so profound that the Queen even smuggled Susan under a rug in the royal carriage on her honeymoon. For over 70 years, the Queen's Corgis were a constant, endearing part of her life. They followed her through Buckingham Palace, flew with her on private jets, and even co-starred with her in the 2012 London Olympics opening ceremony. These dogs served a unique purpose. They projected warmth and down-to-earth relatability. In an age when monarchy was constantly questioned, the sight of the Queen with her scampering dogs humanized her. It offered a glimpse of the devoted dog lover behind the crown. The Corgi didn't rule with fear. It ruled with charm, becoming a beloved four-legged emblem of one of the longest-reigning monarchs in history. From the sacred lions of China's Forbidden City to the steadfast companions of the modern British monarchy, these dogs were more than just pets. They were extensions of the crown. They were chosen to symbolize strength, project nobility, guard secrets, and offer comfort in a world of immense pressure. They walked the halls of power, sat at the feet of emperors, and witnessed history unfold. So, which of these canine royals would you want by your side? The sacred Pekingese, the swift Saluki, or the steadfast Corgi? Let us know in the comments below. Also, let us know what specific dog breed you would like to see a deep dive on as well. And if you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to subscribe and watch our other videos for more hidden histories.